All right, so sitting right on top of your ball for me, please. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Grow tall through your spine. Think about bringing yourself up and out through your hips. Feel, instead of sitting deeply on the ball, feel as if you're almost coming off of that ball. So you feel everything lift up. Those abs draw in, shoulders up, back, and down. And then you can start a little bounce. And as you start your little bounce, just notice if you start flopping in your upper body, imagine that from the waist up, if you were only on camera from the waist up, no one could really tell what you were doing. You could be sailing for all we know, right? So you're nice and smooth. So you're using, so you're using that core to stay strong here. While we're doing this, we're just going to kind of go over a couple reminders. If you are wearing shoes, that will be more secure. If you are wearing bare feet, that will be more secure. If you're wearing socks, that will be slippery unless you have the little sticky nubbins on the bottoms of those socks, right? And then you don't want to have your feet on a mat that might slide out from under you. All right, and then finally, if you widen your stance, you will notice that it feels a little bit more stable. So keep that in mind as we go through the exercises. A wider stance will feel more stable. Come back to hip distance apart. A little more challenging. And then finally, if you squeeze everything together, then that should be even more challenging, right? So most things we'll do in that neutral position, knees right out at the hip bones. And now we're still bouncing, but let's see if we can get a little more momentum going, right? And again, you don't want to flop onto the ball. You want to lift and lift and lift and lift and feel some work, even enough work in your glutes as you kind of squeeze and lift. But you got to know where that ball is when you come back down, right? So we're not coming so far off the ball that we lose the ball. And then if you wanted to add some arms, right? Or even let's bring the arms out to the side and make little circles. Tighten those arms, reach through your fingers, and then reverse your circles. And then reverse again. And reverse again. And then reverse to the first one and start making your circles bigger. And then reverse, big circles, and then back to smaller circles. And then relax. Oh, that should have warmed you up just a little bit. All we're going to do from here is straighten our legs so that we're still lined up, ankles, knees, and hip bones. And then we're going to bend those knees until the knees come right over the heels. Right, so you now should be leaned back, and I'm going to go sideways just so you guys can see a little bit better. Oops, I'm breaking my own rules here. All right, so as you slide forward, those knees come right over those heels, and that spine is already in an extended position. You should feel your abs engaged already. Notice if you lean back, you'll be kind of in a lazy boy recliner. So I don't want you in that position. I want you where you're challenging your abs. And then exhale, pull your ribs a little closer to your hips. Inhale, let them open. Exhale, close, open, close, open, close. So it's a small move here. Ribs and hips are just getting this little bit closer to each other, almost like you're clamshelling through here. Shoulders up, back, and down. And we close and squeeze and close and squeeze, close and squeeze. Two more, close and squeeze, close, hold here, open those arms, ribs are pulled in, we rotate. Maybe you're trying to reach back behind you, see if you can touch that floor. And then relax and go over the ball. Walk yourself a little bit forward so your hips come off the ball. And now you're going to bring your fingertips to the edges of your skull. We're not going to pull, but we're going to let the head rest in those hands. And then we're going to do our negative to neutral. So negative means we're going to allow the head to drop below the ball. Ribs are going to pop up, but then on the exhale, we pull the ribs down, we knit them together, and the chin stays in a knotted yes position. We inhale up and over, let the ribs expand, and we exhale to close. And just be aware that you're not letting the chin lift up and close down. It's staying in neutral. And you should feel this as you start, you get a pre-stretch is what we call it, and then we close. If you want a little more intensity, you're going to crisscross your arms, cradle your head between your biceps. And now we've created a longer lever. Good. Last two like this. Last one, we're going to stay in neutral and we're going to extend that right arm. And then you're going to see if you could, for a moment, lift your left leg up. Maybe you could extend that left leg. Bring that down, back together. Left arm extends, try to balance, extend that right leg and down. So right, left, just a little extra challenge here, left, right, right, left, and left, right. And then we're gonna bring that head up and around, get a little nod, yes. And then we're gonna slide forward one more time. So now the ball is on your, under your head, and I've run out of space, so I'm gonna have to roll back a little bit, sorry. All right. Arms are out to help our balance. Hips are completely off the ball. The first thing I want you to notice, did your hips sag? Let's lift them up. So you're going to feel sort of bridge work here. If this feels unstable, go wider. For more challenge, let's walk those feet and see if you can squeeze your ankles and your knees to touch without the hips dropping. If they do, some of that might be tightness in your IT band. So now with those feet together, that should be more challenging. And then finally, if you want that next level of challenge, remember, you're keeping your abs in, but this is a lot about the glutes. Then we go back to seeing if we can lift a leg at a time. If you can lift your toe off the ground, can you lift your knee up? If you can lift your knee up, can you lift your leg up? If you can lift your leg up, can you lift your leg up and maybe make a circle with your toes? So give that a whirl, try a few of those. And make sure you feel even and you've challenged yourself. And then as you're ready, come all the way back up to sit right on top of that ball. And then the last thing we'll do from this seated position here at the beginning of class is just a little fun game to see if you could lift a foot, both feet off the ground and find your balance on top of that ball. And you may have to shift around a little bit and see where your hips need to be to find that balance. And if you can do that, then maybe you can do a little forward back motion, right? Tuck, come forward, tuck, come forward. My ball is a little bit too deflated, so it's not the usual height. So my feet are touching down. Or then you could try side to side. And if you can do both of those, then you're going to try a circle. Again, without your feet touching down, my ball just, did somebody deflate this? Anyway. All right. Okay. So that was just your little play period, or you can just try, you know, hanging out, feet off the ground. Okay. So from there, we're going to go ahead and make our way all the way down to the ground. You can just shimmy your way down. And then we're going to lie down. We're just going to put the ball on our belly for just a second. Deep breath in, exhale, pull the abs and the ribs in, feel your body curl around that ball. And then lift that ball right above you, deep breath in. On the exhale, lift the head, neck, and shoulders off the ground. On the inhale, reach over your head, and then exhale, come down. So ab prep exercise, just warming our abs up. And then just for a little fun, if you want, let the ball bounce and grab it, right? So just a little challenge there. Just some awareness to see if you can do that. It's not really adding much except for a hold there. and then relax. And then we're going to bring those knees up to tabletop. We're going to put that ball right on the tips of the knees for a moment. Deep breath in. Exhale, lift up. Inhale, extend the arms and the legs in opposite directions. On the exhale, bend your knees, tap the ball to your knees. You're not scooting your knees in, they stay over your hips. Reach and tap. Reach. Option, put the ball between your knees, but again, you're not going to bring your knees in, you're going to come up and bring the ball to your knees and extend. Grab it and extend. So we lift ourselves up to do this transition, not bring our knees into us. And then finally, if you want that last little challenge, stack the knees in tabletop. See if you can roll the ball up your shins, roll it to your knees, then extend. Roll it up to your knees and extend. Roll it up to your knees and extend. Bring the feet down on the ground. Tuck your hips, tip them up, and then put that ball between your knees and give it a squeeze. There's that Susie and run. All right, as you squeeze the ball, you should feel your abs engage a little bit more. So I'd like you to squeeze the ball as hard as you can and feel that. And then we're going to bridge up. And now you should feel that squeeze inner thighs as well as your hips. Arms up, shoulders back and down, and we're going to come down. Lift up and squeeze the ball. Up and down, up and down. Just a quick little bridge set because we have more work for our glutes and hamstrings. Last two and last one. Bring your hips down, release the squeeze on the ball, but leave it between your legs. Take a deep breath in, and then on the exhale, lift your knees up into tabletop, still holding on to that ball. All right, deep breath in. On the exhale, pull your ribs to your hips. We're going to do our toe touch. So we're going to reach that ball and those thighs away from our body. Chin stays in a nodded yes position. Ribs stay down. Low back stays the same distance from the ground. You're welcome to flex your feet and make this more of a heel tap. You just don't want to go so far that your low back lifts off the ground or that your abs pop up. If you want more challenge, slide the ball between your shins, less of a bend in your knees, longer lever. And more challenge than that would be ball up between your ankles, double leg lower. Longer lever, more challenge. More challenge, squeeze the ball at the bottom if you weren't doing that. And keep that going. And relax. Grab that ball, let your feet come together, take a quick stretch for the inner thighs, just passive stretch. You can even put the ball on one thigh for a moment, and then the other. And then we're all going to come to that straight-legged position with the ball between our ankles. Even if you have tight hamstrings and have a slight bend in your knees, that's fine. Arms out into a T, palms up, ribs pull down. Legs stay over the hips, and we're just starting a little tick-tock here, side to side. And then when you're ready, see if you can make it a little bit more of a circle. So we're starting in our kind of corkscrew motion. And then finally, if you want, when you turn your legs over to the left, rotate the right leg on top, then come up and around and do the opposite with the left. So it's sort of a figure 8 circle, if that makes sense. Couple more here. And then relax that. Grab that ball, shoulders out of your ears. Place that ball on your ankles and bring your knees in this time and bring your forehead to your knees. And we're going to roll like a ball. The only problem is you have this giant ball out in front of you. So make sure, or you won't be able to kick actually. And then come up. And if you need to just roll over to come up, that's fine. Then you're going to sit up really nice and tall. Legs are wider than the ball. If you need to have a bend in your knees, that's fine. Otherwise, pull your glutes out from under you. And let's get a really nice spine stretch with this ball. So we're going to help ourselves lift up out of those hips by pressing down on the ball. And then we'll give it a hinge forward. And then we're going to press down on the ball again, grow a little taller before we hinge again. And then finally, one more time, we're going to press down on that ball and slightly hinge it forward. And then you just go to your point of feeling a nice stretch. You might feel it in your hamstrings, you might feel it in your spine. And then we're going to relax. We're going to bend those knees, feet flat on the ground, and we're just going to do a nice roll down here. So hands right out in front of you, squeeze that ball, feel your triceps engage, hinge back, pull your ribs in, and feel a little extra challenge. If you want, you can lift your arms a little higher and then lower the ball before you come up on an exhale. Inhale at the top, you can do your Atlas imitation here, and then exhale to hinge back. Inhale, arms reach up to any level you want, lower before you try to come up, and inhale at the top. So we exhale on the movements, we inhale at the bottom, we exhale on the movement, and we inhale at the top. Exhaling to move, inhaling at the top and the bottom. All right, take a little break. You can just bring that ball here and flop for just a second, just relax for just a moment. Then we're going to add rotation to that. So once again, back into that roll down position, hinge back, make sure you're not rounded at all. And then we'll rotate side to side. Now you can keep this rotation side to side, or you can bring it up overhead and side to side. Or kind of a combination, not straight out in front of you, not up overhead, but sort of halfway. Notice if your knees are boom, boom, acting like a piston, look at your knees and try to keep them even, right? Even if they're not together, just try and keep them even. All right, just a couple more here, side to side or up and over. And then ball is going to go down in front of you. All right, we're going to be doing some movement where we're going to end up traveling forward. So you may want to start back, and if you want to cushion your knees a little bit, maybe have that mat folded up a little bit. So we'll see if this works. So we're going to start. This is going to be a basically a plank position. So we're going to come into a little teeny ball here, elbows as close to the ground and as close to you as possible. You're going to roll over your kneecaps onto the fronts of your thighs, extend the arms straight, and then you're not going to stay back. You're going to lunge forward, pull everything into a line, and then pull back. So that's kind of a pike back. So you have to start with everything really close together before you extend out and roll back. Extend out and roll back. When you extend out, be aware that you don't want to let the hips and the belly drop. You want to tuck the hips and pull the ribs in and extend the arms and roll back. Your toes, meanwhile, are going straight up in the air. Good. 2 more times. On this last one, we're going to hold it out. Arm in line, arms in line with your ears, ribs in, and bring it back. And most people's favorite stretch is the flop. Up and over, that should really open your low back up. From there, just take your toes wider than your mat. And then as you're ready, tuck your toes under. So now your legs are straight, and we're just going to press up in a nice spinal extension, and then back down. And when you're ready to make this into more of an exercise, just lightly support with your fingers or no support at all. Right, so now you should feel this in your low back, a little bit in your glutes, maybe a tad in your hamstrings. Nice, all right, and then I'm still here, cat butt in your way, sorry about that, but it's okay because you're gonna see, hey, come here. All right, I'll get her to move in a second, but meanwhile, you're gonna bring your head upside down and your hips are the highest point of your body, right? And then from there, you're gonna lift your legs. Nutmeg, come here, girl. Thank you. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. She is the star of the show. So I guess she needed a little screen time. So here you are. We're working that same area, your low back. Maybe your legs are together, but we're doing this in a reverse hyperextension. And then toes down for just a second. Straighten your arms, and while you straighten your arms, bring them directly underneath your shoulders and be honest with yourself. It's not a wide push-up position. It's a hands underneath your elbows, underneath your shoulders. Roll your shoulders out of your ears and make sure you have a gap between your hands and the ball, maybe 6 to 10 inches, and then balance on that ball. So legs are going to come up, so you're basically doing a plank. You're going to bend your elbows backwards, and as you do so, your upper body comes down and your lower body goes up, and then you straighten your arms. So it's a seesaw motion, right? Not a both ends down, both ends up. But as your upper body comes down, as if your body is one straight board plank and can't bend, your legs come up. If you're not feeling this in your triceps, walk your hands a little farther forward, drag the ball lower on your thighs, and you'll have more weight coming down in front of you. And then we're going to stay up. So now you are in a plank, right? If you don't feel enough challenge, at any point you need to come down, that's fine. For more challenge, walk your hands farther forward, drag the ball so it comes underneath more of your thighs. Make sure you're not floppy, right? You're strong, you're supported, you're pushing the floor away, your abs are in, your belly button is pulled in, your legs aren't bent, everything is strong. For more challenge, drag yourself a little farther forward so that ball comes underneath your shins. Press that floor away, stay tall. You can even walk, I've run out of space, but you could even walk a little farther forward so that ball would come underneath your ankles, and you press that floor away. Make sure your hips aren't piped up and your low back isn't sagging. You're strong through wherever you are in this plank. Back of the neck is long, head in line with the spine, hanging out there. And then once again, we'll take a little flop and relax that low back. And then, just as we did when we were seated on the ball, we're going to see if we can get all 4 limbs off the ball, right? So be as if we're flying Superman. That floor might come close to your face. Please do not let them meet, right? So arms and legs lift. This is a lot about physics, right? Biomechanics. How much of your body weight is above the ball? How much of it is below? If that ball is a fulcrum, can you balance? You may have to bend your arms. And then when you're ready, one more flop. And then eventually you're going to mosey your way back over onto your mat, but don't unfold it all the way, just halfway, because what I'd like you to do is have your hips on the mat, but the ball off the mat, right? So I'm going to come really close to the edge of the mat, and then I lie down, and the ball is off the mat, but my hips are on the mat. And to start with, let's just enjoy a nice moment here. Legs extended. So once again, we're going to go through some bridge work here. Hands down, palms down, shoulders out of your ears, neutral spine, lift your hips up. There's your first bridge. Now, if this feels too easy, walk your feet together. If that feels too easy, lift your hands up in the air. If that feels too easy, keep your hands down for now and lift and lower one leg 3 times. And then do the other leg, of course. If it felt unstable, you walk your feet wider. All right, from there, bring your hips down. If you want the next level of challenge, bend your knees and roll until your feet are on the ball. And then we lift up and we're in a higher bridge. Option, feet together. Option, hands up in the air. Option, hands down, lift and lower one leg at a time. You're going to feel this a little more in that other glute and hamstring. And when you've completed that, hips down. If you want the third level, you're going to roll the ball forward until the only thing that's touching it are your heels on the very tip top of the ball. And again, lift up. You'll be way high this time. Maybe hands come up, maybe feet come together, or maybe you try that one leg at a time. And then come down. Everyone's going to come into this position now, okay? So heels are on top of that ball. Knees are quite bent. We're going to do a hamstring into glute exercise. So hang in there with me. Here we go. Deep breath in. Lift those hips up, stretch the legs out, pull them back, out and back, out and back. Keep going. 4, 3, we're going to turn this into single leg. 2 and 1, keep the left leg on the ball, extend the right leg in the air, roll the left leg in. 4, 3, 2, again. 4, 3, 2, and 1, right leg down, left leg up for 8. 4. Good, both legs on the ball, bend them in, everybody here, hips up, knees bent, tap your hips down and up, down, up, down, up. Just 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh my goodness. We get a relief now. Roll that ball underneath your left leg. Roll it to the left and grab your right knee, hug it in. Oh, that should help already. Bring that knee towards your left shoulder and then roll it open to the right. Let it drop open for a second. Bring it back to center. Pull your toes back and reach down with your right hand and pull those toes back farther. Press that heel to the sky and then straighten that leg. If it's out here, that's fine. If you're grabbing lower, that's fine. Bend the knee. Bring it towards your left shoulder, cross that left leg underneath it, and then just roll the ball in and flip it open for your outer hip stretch here. And then release that. Roll the ball underneath your right leg, move that off to the right. Left leg comes in, and we'll draw a couple of circles here. Leg over to the left, flex through the heel, grab those toes. Pull them back, lift up, straighten that leg, even if it's to the side or you're holding lower. Then you're going to bend it, bring everything back through center, right knee towards your left shoulder, and then finally crisscross at the ankle, pull it in, press it open, and relax. All right, roll that ball in, grab it, bring it overhead for just a quick little stretch. Legs go the other way. We're going to try and roll up with this ball. If it doesn't work for you, no worries. You can always roll over to the side. Bring that ball ahead of you and down low towards the ground. Roll up a vertebra at a time or roll over onto your side and meet me up here, and we're going to do a little bit of side work now. So you can probably take your mat all the way back out to a straight position. All right, we're going to bring that ball onto our right hip. And then you're going to lean into it so that your right side of your torso is pretty much draped on that ball. Take your top leg and put it in front, and your bottom leg is behind you. So you've got a wide split in your legs. Try and stack your hips up at that point. All right, first option is simply put your hand on the ball and lift yourself up to the side. So we're lifting up towards the sky. If you can do that, could you take your bottom hand off the ball and put it on your shoulder and do that? If you can do that, can your bottom arm extend? Can both arms go into more of a V? Most challenging would be that candlestick, so hands together, arms together. And then bring that down. We're going to do one last little set here. So we're going to bring that bottom arm here. We're going to shoot that top arm towards the sky. And all we're going to do is a little punch, lift, lift, lift. Four, three, two, and one. We're going to stretch that out. Bottom hand on the ground. Top hand is going to come up and over so the ball rolls underneath us, and you should feel an opening through your spine. And then, yeah, we're going to roll over and do the other side. So we're going to lean against that with our left hip. Drape yourself over the ball, top leg in front, bottom leg behind. Get a nice wide stance. Use that ball to help you the first few times. And then if you can, hand goes on your shoulder. Top arm up, maybe bottom arm out. More challenging, they go into a V. And more challenging, you grip them together, candlestick or Charlie's Angel, some people call this. And then bring it down, take a second. Both arms shoot into an L position. We're poking a hole in the ceiling. Lift, lift. And relax. Ooh, arm comes up and over. Feel that rounding through your spine in that area you just worked. And then bring that down. And we're going back to the first side, a little bit different this time. We're going to be working our legs. So we're going to come over the ball, but this time your hand goes down on the ground, right? So find a good secure spot, and you're going to stack your legs. So stack your hips, stack your legs. Top hand on your leg if you can. If you need it here for balance, that's fine. Otherwise, notice if you're draped, press yourself away from the ball. So a little bit of sensation here. Top leg is going to lift, and all we're going to do to start with, we're just going to lift and lower. But then I want you to flex through that quadricep, come up to hip height, give me a lengthen forward and a stretch back. Flex forward, stretch back. Two more, flex, point, last time, flex and point, and then bring that leg right above the other one. Are you still at hip height? Give me a little circle, a golf ball size circle. 3 and 1, go the other way, 4. Now we baseball size circles. Do baseball size circles. Reverse. Basketball, we're hitting all the Olympic games here. Maybe not. Reverse. And then finally, a circle as big as the ball you're on. 3, 2, 1. Reverse it. 4. Ouch. 3, 2, and 1. Bring that leg in front. Just get a little crisscross here. It's not going to be a huge stretch, but a little bit. Push the hips back and you'll feel some more. Arr. All right, let's give that love to the other side. Here we go. Ball comes underneath, hand is down. Stack your hips, stack your legs if you can. Your top arm is on that top hip. We're gonna lift that top leg. We're gonna point and flex down. Point to lift, exhale, flex down. One more. Good. Lift to hip height. Give me a flex forward and a point back. A flex forward and a point back. Now, notice if your leg is going up and down, try and keep it at hip height the whole time. One more time. And then we start golf ball circles 4 and reverse. And then baseball and reverse. And basketball. And again, reverse. And then finally, a ball, whoops, a circle as big as the ball you're on. And reverse. And foot down. Oh, woo, press the hip back, right? Not tuck under, but scoot it back. Extend from your spine, right? So booty back. And that will give you more of the stretch. If your hips are tucked under, you're kind of avoiding it. All right, from there, we're gonna flip over and that ball should be kind of underneath our rib cage. And we're gonna roll forward and walk our feet back so that we come into a little squatty position. So we're gonna stretch here. If you get vertigo, you're gonna stay at one of the first 2 levels. Level 1, just let your head rest on the ball and open your arms. And that actually feels pretty good. A little more, you press through your feet so you're on top of the ball. Now, again, if you don't get vertigo, you could go up and over by letting your head drop in the opposite direction. I'm gonna kind of play it safe here, but you are welcome to drop up and over. With your arms out in that T position, you should be feeling a nice stretch across your pecs, right? We close those down sometimes as we're doing those sort of flexion, crunching movements. And then finally, to come out of this, nod your head yes. Start rolling with your upper body, but at the same time, walking your feet back so that you end up on top of that ball. And now we actually do get to stretch. Keep in mind that you are sitting on top of the ball. So if you need some stability, feel free to hold on to something. If you're okay with it, walk your right foot a little to the right, take your left leg up and over, crisscross at the ankle. So sometimes I remind you guys to pull that knee in front of the hip instead of being way out here. Cross it over a little bit more and then press into the ball. That'll give you stability, but it'll also give you a tall spine. I already feel that in my outer hip. I'm gonna press the hip down or the knee down and lift the foot up. And then I'm gonna push the ball behind me without rounding, right? So I'm as extended as I can get in that spine, not dropping, but extending. I'm actually off the ball pretty much. And then sit back down, cross that leg over, bring your right arm across if it's okay with you, and give me a little twist and look over to the left. And then we'll come back through center, put both feet down. Now walk your left foot wide, cross that right ankle over, and again, can you scoot it a little farther so the knee's in front of the hip? Can you press the knee down and lift the heel up, and then push into the ball to grow tall, and then press the ball back for a deeper stretch. And then we'll crisscross here at the legs, and we'll bring ourselves around if you want for that spinal twist. And then uncross, scoot the ball a little more securely underneath you, slightly wider stance. Left arm down, right arm up and over, and shoot the ball over to the opposite side. And then again, we're gonna round that back, and then we'll lift it up, and then we'll press to lift gracefully. We're gonna go the other way. Arm comes up and over. We're gonna let ourselves round into it and roll into it. And then as we come back, we're gonna press into the ball so we lift tall. And then finally, we're gonna scoot those hips back and feel that spine extend so we're arched in our spine. And then we're gonna tuck and round that underneath us, ball is gonna round. And then we're gonna extend, chest forward, and round, and extend, and round one more time. We're gonna extend, we're gonna grow tall. We're gonna pull our abs in, and then we're gonna start. Imagine a slow motion bounce, right? Or pretend like you're trying to get out of the chair and you can't. Almost. So notice if you're doing lift, flop, and try to lift, touch, lift, gracefully back into the chair, very serenely. You should start to feel your glutes and your quads working. Go a little higher each time, but know where the ball is when you come back. Hey, beauty. 4. When we get down to 1, we're going to stand up 3. Last 2. And last 1. Big ball day. Complete. Nice work.